Okay, we're live. Okay, so we are doing a shaping challenge with the puppies today, and we're going to put it out there for everybody. We want to see you shape your dog. What behaviors can you shape your dog to do? What is shaping? Notice how we're not telling, who's this one?
Koa.
Koa. We're not telling Koa what to do. But if he does something that we like, we can click and then we toss the food, because clicker means I like what you did. Come to me and get your food, or get out of position and get your food. So we have the target stick there. We have the piano. He can play the piano. He can boop the target stick. That's the target stick. He can boop that with his nose. He can get on the wobble board, which is the wood board there with the HSD logo on it. He can put paws up on the black box, or walk around the black box, or touch it with his nose, like right there. I moved the place board over here so he can come up onto place. And then there's a toy there. You see the little Kong toy? So we have a bunch of options for him to explore. And notice Tara is the one with the clicker. So she's clicking and he's coming over to get his food. She's not preloading. The food's in the fanny pack because she's stylish that way. And he just gets to explore and figure it out. Now, if he's getting paid for hitting his nose against that target stick, he might do that more and more and more. And if we wanted to name it, say we want to name it target or target stick or bump. I've used all those in the past before. We could. While he's doing it before we click, we could name it. Or while he's on his way to doing it, we can name it. But people are always in a big rush to name things that their dog's doing. You don't have to name things at all. Like, don't name things. Like, let your dog explore and figure out. The fact that I'm talking here is enough of a distraction, but you see, he don't care. Because I talk all the time, and he's used to it. We have 127 people on our live. 135, I lied. So pause up, 145. Okay, so he's going over there. He's going to come, maybe, maybe not. So if we wanted to get him up on that a little bit more, we could even click for that sniff that he did. Right, so Koa is a service dog in training. He is from our Oliver and Company litter. So he is just over 4 months old, like just over 4 months. And he could get off. Like, we also have clacks over there. That's what those things are. There's the chair, there's stairs. You know, that's not out in the center here. But if he'd go over and interact with them, we'd click for that. Or maybe we wouldn't. It all depends. And Tara, what are you using? Do you have Happy Howies?
Yeah.
So she has Happy Howies, which is a rolled treat that you sit. Kate was sitting this morning dicing those up. And then he's using his nose to find it, which is good. And why do we like this? Because these are service dogs. These are future service dogs. They're service dogs in training. And we want them to be able to think and to figure things out. And in my opinion, in my experience, not just my opinion, in my experience, some trainers like to call themselves, more positive based, and some of them want to call themselves more balance based. We're dealing with a 4-month-old puppy. Most of what we do is clicker training and luring and capturing behaviors and shaping behaviors and food based, because they're puppies, they're learning, and we want optimistic learners who think the world is an awesome place. We don't want pessimistic learners who think the world is a big scary place and out to get them. That doesn't work out good with service dogs. Instead, if we have optimistic learners and they're like, oh cool, if I step on this wobble, it might be a little bit scary, but I get a food for it, I get a click for it, and good things happen when I do that. What do you think is going to happen when we take him to Disney and we take him on Dumbo and he has to walk over that gap into the Dumbo car? He's going to be like, cool, I got this. And yes, service dogs can ride the Dumbo ride. And if he starts to wander off, he done, right? We can pop him away. We've got, 10 dogs here, 10 puppies here, so we could just pull another puppy. But you can see he's still active. He's an active learner, an active participant. Tara could be cheerleading him. Let's do this. Come on, puppy. Come on, puppy. She's not. She could be luring him. Come on, put your feet on the wobble. She's not doing that either, because if a dog invents the behavior on his own, like this here, that wobble, he's going to love it more and want to do it more and love it more, and it's going to be a default behavior that he does. So a lot of times these confidence building things, and if you think about it, that's what these are. The play the piano is confident with the noise and putting your paws or nose on it. The target stick is confident. They're all confident things, and the toy, which is kind of confident too. He's like, I played the piano. You might not have heard it because I played it for only dogs to hear. So one of the things we've done for this, how do you think we can get the dog to play the piano if they're not doing it on their own? There's a ton of different ways, right? You can put food in between the piano keys, towards the far away part of it. I don't know what it's called. Between the black keys. You could put the target stick on it. You can lure the dog up. There's things you can do. But the dogs who have done it the most are the ones who have captured it on their own. They've invented the behavior. And you can see he's slowing down now, right? And what has Tara said? Has she said anything? I don't think she said anything this whole time. Oh my God, Tara, you haven't said anything this whole time. Whenever she first started with us, Tara's been with us for 2.5 years-ish. She came the day Flounder was born, was her first day with us. And one of the challenges I gave her was, 2 minutes that she couldn't say anything? So she had to do silent training for 2 minutes. That's something else I'll challenge people to do. And it was so hard. And it is. I like to talk to you, girl. I get it. Talking's fun. Okay, so Koa is done. He's like, I'm done. He's like, hello, I'm done, kind of. So notice how she's tossing the food up on the wobble. Oh, do you have a pink bone underneath the wobble? Is that why she's nodding her head? So we like to do that too. There's a pink inflatable bone, not like a balloon, but like she'll show you what it is. That, right? It's like a little baby fit paws. So it's not going to clamp down on him. It's not going to startle him too much. We don't want bad things to happen. How can we set him up for success? By using the pink bone. How can we do better grip? Look at this awesome little indoor-outdoor rug we got at Winn-Dixie yesterday. I love the color. It was the only one that color, so that's the one we got. But it's kind of smushy. I'm usually with throw down a whelping mat for them so they have better gription. He's like, I sit, right? So what happens when he sits? Click, and then notice how she tosses the food to get him out of the sit. What happens a lot of times is people will bring the food to the dog, and then the dog's still in a sit. And that's great if you're working on duration behavior. But if we're working on capturing behavior, and he looks and he sits, you want to toss the food. So she's using the clicker here. The clicker, you could also use the word brick, right? And that'll work. It means the same thing to the dogs. Our dogs are bilingual. They get both languages. But we also have one for stay in position, and that is yes or whatever they're doing. So if he's in a sit, we could say sit. If he's in a sit, we could say yes, and then we can room service deliver. What I'm going to ask Tara to do is, because he's done that a few times where he's come up, he's sat, he's looked at you, and I love eye contact. I love sit. Let's see if we can get him to do a down. If he downs on his own, let's capture that. She really does talk a lot, most of the time. Okay, so this can take a while. So with Gypsy, who was, I don't know how many service dog goes, she was actually training in here. There we go. So he's going to get his jackpot, and he's going to get as much food as he wants to eat from that jackpot. Right? How cool is that? But Gypsy learned to do downs by capturing. She was frustrated because I wasn't rewarding the sit, and so I waited, and when she downed, I jackpotted her, and it took her about probably 15 minutes to figure that out. It happened a second time, and that took maybe about 5 minutes, and then she got it. So it took her a lot shorter of a time. Look what just came in. I love it. I get packages. I'm doing my part because we use these for box work. Okay, so that is nice. That is KOA, and that is capturing behaviors. So my challenge to you is capture a behavior with your dog. For that, what does your dog need to know? They have to have an understanding of marker words. They have to have some food drive. And you have to have something for them to do. Right? I use clicker training. My dog taught himself sit. That's awesome. I love clicker training. And you know, a lot of people will say, like, oh, I don't want to have to carry the clicker around all the time. You don't. You don't have to. But it is nice, especially with these young puppies at 4 months old. Prime time for clicker. Prime time for clicker. I've also had some of my puppies who've gone home at 8 weeks old, and by 3 months old, they were enrolled in a board and train, which is fine, not a problem. Except the board and train was using choke chains or slip leads or whatever, and it was a correction for each one. And I'm like, no, these puppies, our puppies at 8 weeks old have a very good understanding of the clicker. It's very well charged, and it's so much easier to train. I'm like, why would you resort to something that's not in their native tongue? It's worth it because it catches things faster. Oh, totally. Yeah, for the clicker, I can do that so much faster than even break. My dog was housebroken and doing one task at 4 months of age. That's fantastic. Yeah, most of ours don't have accidents. They're doing good, and then they've all started scent discrimination, deep pressure therapy, and oops retrieve. We also, I forgot you. Another thing she has, and you might be able to kind of see it right underneath the chair there. She's pointing it out. Is we have a nosy nose there. So if he'd go over there and he'd sniff it, we could click for that too. But she'd take it underneath the chair. He's like, oh, boxes. Ay, boxes. So even with that, what we found too, because this is usually the training room, the dogs love to come in here. But sometimes whenever they're in the training room and we jackpot them, they'll refuse it because they don't want it to be over. I love seeing how others train. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like training. We want to do, I think we're going to do a shaping workshop at some point this year. Dogs let us know when they're done. Yeah, and he's done. He's just kind of eating and making sure he picks up everything. So since we have so many dogs that we work, like I said, we have 10 4-month-olds in right now from the last litter. We have to make sure all the food's picked up, because what happens then, the next dog comes in and finds a smorgasbord on the floor there of food they didn't earn. So him, and when he's done, he can have some loving, he can have some fun time. He doesn't have to go straight back in his crate while the next one comes out. And is it storming yet, or is it just looking like it's gonna?
It hasn't rained yet.
So storms are coming. What do you train the dogs to do? Oftentimes, I specialize in POTS or dysautonomia service dogs and started service dogs. We do service dogs for all different things. But yeah, we breed, raise, and train primarily for service dogs, therapy dogs, and pet dogs. Primarily service, but therapy and pets too. And even though it's going to be storming outside, we still want to take them outside, because the life of a service dog is you have to deal with it. I hear the rain. You hear the rain? We have a metal roof, so you hear it. So I'm going to shut this down, and I'll probably pull it up for the next one too.